This topic today is how to get what you want from your designer. So what we're going to talk about is just that. And you definitely hit it on the head to start. Like, what do they want? Details, specific. So that's exactly what I started my presentation with as well. So there we are. Just be specific. And so I really love what you have going on with the GoMobile team. Especially this app content and app style. And that's what we're going to get into mostly today is those two boxes on your questionnaire. And so I think those are the really, really great things to have and really the best places to be the most specific. And so in order to figure out what should go there, a lot of the times when you're developing a brand, you have a brand guidelines. And so the brand guidelines could be a one-pager, could be a multi-page document, but it just details your logo and the icons, also your brand fonts, color codes, imagery, and different elements and things like that. So here's an example of what GoMobile's looks like. So they have their fonts there and their colors listed. So that helps with the development of that portion of the app. And so here's one that's a little more extensive. So, I mean, they have a table of contents. It's so huge. So they go into how to actually use the logo, how much space should be around it, what it should look like in other platforms. So what it should look like on a website, on social, there's like this brand consistency across the board. No matter where you land to see this brand, it'll look exactly the same. So one of the things that I really want to touch on within these brand documents are the colors. So you can see here in this example, they've got varying colors from a dark blue to orange, and they've labeled them with emotions because at the end of it, color is emotion. And so that's a good way you can think of in order to get your app users to go about getting to where they need to go within your app to have a certain color associated with it. So I don't know if, like, when you go to the grocery store and you pay with your card, they have a question on the screen that says whether you want cash back. And usually the buttons are green for yes and red for no. But depending on where those buttons are, I seem to always hit the wrong one. And I don't know if this just happens to me or if everybody else has experienced this, but if that no button is on the right-hand side and I really want cash, then I'm going to hit it, because generally when you're looking at an app to go forward or to go next, it's that side on the right. So whether or not the color is red or green, I'm still going to push it because that's like my typical behavior of moving forward with something. So this is something to be aware of when you're placing buttons or placing directions within the app as well. So then to go into the colors. So with my own brand, I use a lot of yellow, and that's just like a happy, fun color to go along with my happy brand color or happy brand company. But what's funny here is, like, I just pulled this off Pinterest, and so it shows the positive and negatives of colors. And under yellow, it also has irresponsible and unstable, which is really kind of funny to me because designers always get a bad rap of being uncommunicative, and they just like kind of disappear. And so I try and go away from that as being a designer, because I hear that so many times about people coming to me. They're like, "You're my third designer," so it's kind of funny that I chose yellow and that's what it means. But designers do get a bad rap of kind of just disappearing sometimes.
How glad am I that didn't happen to me with Greg?
I know. I try and stay away from it because I want to help people, and I don't want them to have that experience of working with a designer where they're just like, where'd you go? You went MIA. So here are some ideas when it comes to color. So blue is generally a very trustworthy color. That's probably why a lot of the social media websites have that as their main brand color. Or if you think of like McDonald's, have you ever wondered why they use red and yellow as their colors? It's like those two colors initiate hunger. And so there's a lot of emotion that comes out of using these different colors. So if you see your brand color here, you can see what it might be for those emotion causing colors. So we just run through here. So Next up, we have, this is just more of the brand document that I wanted to show you. So it just really lays out what the font is, what the examples of like what a headline font, what the body copy font would look like. It's just very, very specific. And I think that helps anyone who gets this document go on and create other items that this business might need. So then here too, they also have the imagery that goes along with it. Yeah,
I'm just wondering, Jessie, because, you know, we provided you with a sneak peek of our upcoming website, right? So that we're updating. And if you can go back a couple of slides to the colors where it showed the black, because the GoMobile colors used to basically be black, white, and what, Greg? Do you remember? I know Greg's on here, right?
It was more or less like a black, a red. There was a little bit of blue in there. There was a blue and orange when I first came on. It's been a variety of things, but it was black and red as far as the old site went. Mostly black. We had a black logo, all black, no color.
So I'm kind of wondering how, you know, how that's changed the perception now that you can see in Derek's on Derek's little screen, you know, our new colors. I'm wondering how that would change perception from the black that we had to now this kind of turquoise-ish, greenish, bluish logo.
Yeah, turquoise is definitely more playful. So you have that, which you guys are a very playful company. So I think that kind of leans right into it. And then if you look at green, green always signifies wealth. And so, I mean, that's exactly what you bring to the table for your clients.
Yeah, you know, the other thing we did with the logo, while we're on the logo, we went from the black and actually that went into the thought, the elegant, the what you had on there was what we decided on when we decided to go with the black logo. But this new logo also was a little bit of a brand shift. Like we've always, as you know, we have the brand message, go mobile or go home, which if you look at go mobile in itself is a verb, right? Go mobile, right? Like your business, you can go mobile, right? And so as we thought about this, what are we doing with our customers, our resellers, our entrepreneurs, our digital agencies are on here right now? We're giving them an opportunity to create a business anywhere in the world. Like me, I've moved down here to Cabo San Lucas and running a company that's based out of California, right? And with employees all over the world working out of their homes. And it's a business, I'm mobile. And so we just did a little brand shift in the messaging of with Go Mobile, you can run a business anywhere you want to live, right? And so that was the interesting thing in which you can see in the G, there's a little map and stuff. So that's kind of puts in the message of the globe. So interesting to get your take on that logo at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can.
Don't just tell us what we want to hear.
Yeah, for real. So good. I do like the element of the globe in there. I think that offers that message by kind of like the little nod to it. So it's fun when you can add something to your logo that, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, this is your little baby, right? So it's like what you want to communicate to your people. And there could be hidden messages in there that are only meant for you, you know, but because you know that's in there, you're so proud of what you've developed.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's our little baby. So we got to all agree on this little baby, right? So It's like, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go, okay, you tell me what the baby's going to look like and let me know when we're ready.
That's awesome. Okay, let's see what else we got in here. Okay, so this is just more of the brand consistency through the different pages. So this is like an example of a podcast. So this is where across any platform, this brand is showcased. You know exactly what it is because you don't know exactly where people will visit you first. So if they go to your Instagram first and then your website, you know, you want this all to look consistent across the board so they know that it's you. And then that initiates the brand recognition even faster. So that's like the key takeaway here is just consistency across all platforms, including your mobile app. Oh, okay. So next we'll get into UI and UX, which I'm sure you guys have heard these terms before, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into what they actually are and what they are from a design perspective. So for user interface, that's just like the design elements within the app. So that's your navigation, your buttons, the graphics, the colors, all those things that we just talked about. with the color theory and things like that, all are part of the user interface. But where the real magic happens is that user experience. And so that's what you want people to get to from point A to point B the quickest and fastest. So here's an example of kind of getting into an app and what you have to do to log in, sign up, and things like that. So once you get into the app, then you have to consider what the most important piece is that you want the user to experience. So if you have a fitness coaching and you offer online booking, so you'll have a booking link right up there on that first one. And then maybe you have, like online workouts. So that's another button that they can get to. And then say you have someone, the next best thing would be maybe to contact you, so you have all those 3 buttons up there that are in view for the user to come and choose once they first enter your app. The next thing that we're going to talk about is human behavior. And this is super important with apps, just like what I mentioned before, at the grocery store when you're wanting to press that button to go forward and it's actually the wrong button. You want to get into why people do what they do on a regular basis. And I saw this study one time and I thought it was super interesting. They said that as a whole, humans, you can predict what a group of people will do, but you can't really predict what an individual will do. And I just find that to be super interesting that as a whole, you can predict what a group of people will be doing. So here in this situation with a mobile app, you can kind of direct them in the place that you want them to do, or direct them to the place where you want them to go based on the most important things in your app. So with human behavior, people are so used to scrolling because they spend, hours per week on social media. So people are used to scrolling, so that's not a problem on apps. Also, people have short attention spans and they're getting shorter and shorter. So that's why you want to have the most important information quick and easy to access. Most people do scan to read. So that's where bullet points come in handy. And where you get to decide what is the most important thing for them and your in your business. And then another thing I thought where I found this and I thought it was interesting is that people do not read instructions, and I definitely am right there with them. So it's whenever you get into something, you just kind of skim through. And so here's an example on the right-hand side of what it might look like to have some onboarding screens. And so that just breaks it down into, if you do have something like instructions that people need to follow before getting into the app, onboarding screens or info screens are super helpful because it just chunks it out into small bite-sized screens that are usually heavily shown with graphics and just quick little tidbits. And then of course that next button to move through it easily.
It's great. There's been another elite branding individual brought here before, though this incorporating how it applies within apps is priceless.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, I'm looking at this as when you're requesting an app, how does this apply, right? Because for the most part, people request apps and then Greg does his magic with his team, right? It's that's what it feels like. It's like magic. But I'm thinking if you just sold a client, you might ask them, do you have specific brand guidelines? Where can I, do you have them listed out? Do you have brand colors? And maybe in terms of the user interface and the user experience, just asking them what's the thing that most of your clients look for first? What's the thing that should be front and center in the app so that then you can direct the design and development team here to say, hey, this is the most important feature to have front and center.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that if you can boil it down to, the top 3 and then having something I've seen in your portfolio, you have app examples where there's 3 buttons on the top. So that could be where the most important features would sit. So then if we're getting in onto more human behavior here, our eyes are drawn to movement. So that's where you want to limit the amount of movement because it'll end up being a distraction. So assign it to things that are, again, the most important for the user experience. And too much movement just ends up being overwhelming for the eyes. So that's something to take in consideration for when you're building out things. And then getting into the emotional bit of human behavior. So there's 6 basic human emotions: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. So using those emotions, you can also initiate some of them by using the color theories. So for example, using a yellow notification to show like an exciting alert that you have within the app, maybe a change or something like that as well. Also, like road signs, the yellow ones notify you that something's coming up, like a windy road or a bump or something like that. So just something to consider if there's a change in your app or you want them to know about something very specific. And also personalization goes a long way. So I don't know if you have any apps that kind of welcome you into the app, you know, like, hey, John, welcome to the app, you know, a happy message, a fun message, just saying hi. That goes a long way for tapping into those emotional pieces.
And you know what? I just absolutely love that you took the community through design elements and what goes into the thinking of design and the colors and the different stuff, because I know it's going to play out when it comes to better submissions. And I know, Greg, I know you love this, because now, no, I'm never going to get away with saying just use the website anymore, because now you're going to expect a little more direction and you'll be able to point them to this video. But this has been really incredible, Jessie. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to spend some time with everybody. And we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate being on and being able to be a part of your happy hour.
It was fantastic.